Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name's Boogie Bentley. This feels oddly familiar, doesn't it? 2022, ranked number 1 in the college football playoff. All you got to do is go down to Georgia and beat Georgia. 2024, you're not ranked at the top of the college football playoff poll, but you got everything in front of you. A shot at an SEC championship, shot at the college football playoff. All you got to do is go down to Georgia and win, but you fail to do that. Georgia wins 31-17. Now the only thing left to do is go beat UTEP. Go beat Vanderbilt and see what happens. And I know there's going to be a lot of talk, a lot of people saying, well, we're not able to beat Vanderbilt. We can't beat Vanderbilt. We're not going to beat Vanderbilt. Tennessee's going to be favored in these next 2 games, but now you need help, right? You're going to be looking around the country, looking at some of these other 2-loss teams, hoping you find a way to back yourself in to the college football playoff. But the reality is Josh Heupel is just not very good on the road. And I wish I could sit here and tell you why. And I wish I could come up with a solution of how this football team can fix it. But the reality is they aren't good on the road. Heupel's 24-4 in Neyland Stadium. Really good at home. One loss in the last 3 seasons in Neyland Stadium. So if they do back their way into the college football playoff and they do have a college football playoff game at home in the first round, I think that gives you an advantage. But we'll have to see how things play out. We may not even have an opportunity to back our way in. And if we do, are we going to be going on the road where Josh Heupel has struggled in the first round of that playoff? 7-9 in true road games since arriving at Tennessee. But you had an opportunity last night, right? I think that's the difference between 2022 and 2024. I think this football team has more talent. I think the talent gap is closing with Georgia. Look, Georgia's a good football team. Josh Heupel said it in the postgame press conference. I saw some of the clips. He said, guess what? We're a good football team too. And I believe that. You had an opportunity to go down there to Athens and win. You got a tie game at the half, but Tennessee could not get off the field on defense. Georgia had 2 scoring drives that went for 12 plays, 87 yards, ate up 7 minutes and 22 seconds. The second drive to take the to go up 14 was 12 plays, 92 yards, ate up 6 minutes and 21 seconds. And then Tennessee just couldn't answer. They couldn't finish drives. They moved the ball a little bit in the second half. You had 2 7-play drives, a 12-play drive. You had the last drive that went 5 plays for 17 yards, and you kind of run out of gas, run out of steam. Nico fumbles the football. You just did not get it done. I thought they were doing enough to keep themselves in it. But when you got into the second half, you kept waiting for somebody to take over. You were waiting for Dylan Sampson to take over. You were waiting for Nico to take over. And it's not that those guys played bad, just nobody took over this football game for Tennessee. I did not like the defensive game plan. Talked a lot about that in the post-game show last night. We're going to get into that. Look, we've had a night to sleep on it. We've had a night to try to push away some of the raw emotions that you have coming off of a loss immediately going into a post-game show. This is the day after Tennessee falls to Georgia. Before we get into it, man, do me a favor. Do the YouTube stuff. Smash the thumbs up just below the video. It helps the channel, and I would appreciate it. If it's your first time here, welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. We're not experts here. We're not insiders. We're not media. We don't pretend to be any of that. What we are is Tennessee fans, diehard, passionate, sometimes psychotic Tennessee fans. So if you like what we do, make sure you subscribe. Click the bell for notifications. You won't miss out when we go live or when we drop a video. We're going to be live later tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time. It's the fan call-in show where you guys get to come on and voice your opinion. So join us for that. Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., Eric Kane of VolQuest.com will be in the house, and we'll talk about this loss against Georgia. But let's get into it. Let's talk about it. I guess you look at this game, and if you could draw up a better start, please, somebody let me know what it is, because I think it was a picture-perfect start. We even talked in the tailgate show right before kickoff. We said, man, you win the toss, go out there on defense, get a stop, and then go score, and then find a way to win the middle 8. And that's pretty much what Tennessee did. You won the toss. You go out there on defense, you get a 3-and-out, and then you respond by going right down the field, scoring a touchdown. Georgia came out the first play of the game, and they tried to take a shot. And I thought that was a pretty good idea. Gibson made a play. They go 3-and-out. And then Tennessee goes 12 plays, 78 yards, 3 minutes, 47 seconds, score a touchdown. Kitzelman over the top, fullback dive, looking like little man Stewart out there. And, there's a lot of talk about this offensive game plan and the scheme and the play calling and the play design. Can they get more creative? It's easy. It's easy to jump in the live chat or jump in the comment section or take to Twitter and say, blame the play calling. Play calling was awful. What give me some substance there. What would you like to see this offense do differently? Because I think, Dustin brought it up last night post game, and I think he's right there. I think there is a lack of creativity, whether you want to blame it on Alex Golish, whether you want to blame it on Josh Heupel and Joey Halsley. What is it there that this offense is missing? I know a lot of you guys last night in the chat were talking about the tight ends. You got the tight ends involved early. Miles Kitselman, I think, led this team in receiving last night, had 4 catches, and then you kind of went away from it. I thought Dylan Sampson ran hard last night, particularly early in the game, got bottled up a couple of times, but second effort is what, got the job done. You stall out on your second drive, but guess what? You play field position. You pin Georgia deep on their own 6. They punt the football 4 plays later. Max Gilbert knocks home his career long of 52 yards. Tennessee's on top 10-0, and you're sitting there thinking that is almost a perfect start to this football game. But can you put them away? Can somebody take over this football game and just put your foot on their throat? You couldn't do that. Georgia got a little momentum. Tennessee's up 10-0. They go on a 75-yard, 7-play drive to score. That thing kind of got started with James Pierce jumping off sides and giving Georgia a free play. It goes for 38 yards. Carson Beck makes a play, scrambles for a first down in the red zone. The jumping off, man, stupid penalties, lining up offsides, jumping offsides, just little things like that has killed this defense at times. A defense that's been pretty good, a defense that you have leaned on, but something else, throughout the course of that portion of the game, midway through the second quarter, Neelan Maxims, play for and make the breaks, and when one comes your way, score. And I felt like the breaks were going Georgia's way at that time, right? They run the little bump sweep. Bump the pass forward, rule the pass. He fumbles it, balls recovered, rule the pass, and it was a pass. I saw some people on Twitter, I saw some people on Facebook complaining, saying that's a fumble. No, it's not. That's why the play is designed that way. So if you do fumble the exchange, it's a pass. But just, again, a break that goes Georgia's way. The very next play, they throw a quick little pass to Arian Smith. He fumbles the football. Georgia recovers. Again, a break that goes Georgia's way. A handful of plays later, they take the lead 14-10 when Beck connects with Delt. But, man, play for and make the breaks when one comes your way, score. But the story of this entire game to me is just defense, man. Lack of pressure on Carson Beck. You look back to last week against Ole Miss. They absolutely whipped Georgia up front. 5 sacks, 9 tackles for loss. Carson Beck has had multiple turnovers in 4 straight games. Tennessee, just no pressure. No pressure the entire night. Didn't get home a single time. No sacks. You had 2 tackles for loss in the entire game. And Carson Beck just sat back there and picked you apart. 25 of 40, 347 yards, 2 touchdowns. Also had 32 yards on the ground and a touchdown. The middle of the field just wide open. I saw another stat that Brent Hubbs put out was that Georgia tight ends finished the game with 13 catches, 130 yards, and 2 touchdowns. You had 6 plays of 20 yards or more, 6 pass plays of 20 yards or more by Georgia. And that starts up front. And I get it. It takes all 11 guys. The linebackers didn't play very good. The secondary wasn't as good as they've been, but it starts up front, and it starts with the game plan. If you can't get home with 4, I think this Tim Banks defense works better when they're aggressive, when they're bringing pressure, when they're dialing up blitzes, and it just felt stale and vanilla and bland to me last night. And I think a lot of that, Bobo out-schemed, Bobo out-coached Tim Banks. That was a big part of last night's loss. I thought Sampson played well. I thought he ran hard early. I mentioned earlier several times that he was stopped short, but second, third effort, picking up extra yards. I kept waiting on his chance to take over the game, and that's almost silly to say for a guy that had 19 carries, 101 yards, and a touchdown. He struggled at times in pass protection, but just ran the ball well. Something that I noticed and frustrates me is late in the game when you're driving down the field and you need D-Samp to take over, he's patting that helmet. He needs out of the game. Now, is that where we're at after 4 straight weeks of 27 carries, 26 carries, 27 carries, 30 carries? Are we seeing, Dylan Sampson, it's starting to take a toll on him, how he has carried the load this entire season. But when push comes to shove and it's late in the game and you need a touchdown to tie the football game, and your leader's patting his helmet because he's exhausted and needs to come out of the game. Again, struggled in pass protection, but the entire offensive line struggled with pass protection. Georgia 5 sacks, 6 tackles for loss, and it could have been worse. Nico's elusive. Like Nico escapes the pocket and makes plays with his legs, and that bails you out at times, but still no explosive plays. I think 17 yards was the longest play of the night. Nico continues to play better. That's my opinion. 167 yards through the air also is not going to cut it. And that's not just on him. That's on him. That's on the wide receivers. It's on protection. It's on penalties. It's on drop balls. It's, again, something happens and this offense stops clicking, whether that be a false start, whether that be a holding call, whether that be a drop pass. And, again, 167 yards through the air is not going to cut it. But Tennessee has to stop shooting themselves in the foot with these stupid penalties, whether it's false starts or holding calls, and then they get behind the sticks, and then they can't climb out of that. I don't know if they're not good enough. I don't know if the scheme's not good enough. But speaking of penalties, absolutely horrible night. Horrible night for the officials. And somebody's going to spin this and say, oh, you're blaming the referees again. I'm not blaming the referees. Georgia's a good football team. Georgia deserves credit for making plays. Georgia won the game. The officiating was absolutely terrible. Missed pass interference on Squirrel White early in the game. The face mask, the phantom face mask that bailed Georgia out of a 3rd and long deep in their own territory with the game tied at 17. They go on to score a touchdown there and take the lead 24-17. You don't think that's a momentum play? What would have been 3rd and long deep in your own territory, and you go and score off of that phantom face mask? You don't think that plays an impact? You don't think that is a momentum play in this game? Late in the 3rd quarter, Oscar Delp, catch over the middle, takes 2 steps, makes a football move. Brooks forces the fumble. We recovered, called incomplete on the field immediately. So that way we don't have to go take a look at it in the booth. Horrible officiating all night long. I saw this floating around on Twitter. I always watch the post-game press conference on the Monday morning show after Kaner leaves the show, but I saw this on Twitter. We got to take a look at it. This is Josh Heupel after the game when asked about the face mask.
Josh, a follow-up on the face mask. When you watch the replay,
yeah, what did it look like?
It looked like the back of the helmet popped up. You didn't see a hand on the face mask. What was the explanation?
Can you repeat that?
It looked like a helmet popped out, so there wasn't a hand on the face mask. SEC office. Next question. What did they give you an explanation of why it was called?
Next question.
Anything else for Coach?
You want to ask about the 12 men on the field?
I would. Yeah.
Okay.
Clearly a frustrated Josh Heupel. Again, you had opportunities to make plays and go win the football game, and you failed to do that. The defense was not very good. The offense couldn't finish drives. But if you don't see the momentum changing in that face mask call, then I don't know what to tell you. What are your thoughts on the game? Jump in the comment section. Let's talk about it. As always, do me a favor and smash the thumbs up on the way out the door. Come hang out for the fan call-in show tonight. I think we're going to rotate through one at a time, and we will just address your comments, your concerns, and we'll get as many people on to voice their opinions tonight live at 7 o'clock. Again, tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. with Kaner. If you like what we do around here and you want to show a little support, you can hit the join button down there right beside subscribe. There's also a link in the description below. It's just $1 a month. It helps keeps the lights on around here, helps keep the channel moving forward. We say for the fans, by the fans, also fan funded. This show does not exist without your support. So we appreciate all of you that are members of the channel. You can also go check out our merchandise at bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. But if not, just smash the thumbs up because it's quick, free, and easy. Jump in the comment section. Let's talk about it because this is the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name's Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.